Dan Smith here to talk about Norway's business and cultural practices of what to expect if you live or work in Norway. Let's get started. Talking about today is travel, language basics, money standards, their code of conduct, their cultural practices, some of the more traditional foods that they serve, business practices, and then we'll finish up with some salary comparisons. To expect when you are traveling to Norway is to bring your passport, very important. They do experience all four seasons there in Norway, so bring lots of warm clothing, dress in layers. Business to casual is appropriate for a standard business meeting work environment. Unless you work in the capital of Oslo, then you would want to follow the more formal business wear practices. Norway is one of the safest countries in the world. They do not have a lot of high crime, but I will say I've watched a documentary on prisons around the world, and Norway actually has the nicest prisons in like the whole world. So if you do commit a crime, make sure it's in Norway. They like here in America, we experience Taco Tuesdays. They have Taco Fridays. It's very beautiful there, as you can see in the photo below here. This is one of the fjords that they have. There's lots of hiking and outdoor activities, so if you're an outdoors person, Norway is definitely something you want to have on your bucket list. One of the downsides is Norway is very expensive. They do not like hearing about it, so please don't complain in public if you ever visit there. You probably will not get a very pleasant response if you do complain about how expensive. I have listed some language basics. To say hello in Norwegian is hallo. Good morning is god morgen. Thanks is takk. Thank you for the food is takk for maten. Please is vær så snill. And then you're welcome is vær så god. And then my name is jeg heter Suzanne, and then yes is ja, and no is nei. I do know a little bit of Norwegian from language camp, from the picture I showed you earlier. I do know the words to One Lullaby, but I will not be gracing you with my singing abilities today. So let's go on to the next slide here. Talk money here. They have the Norwegian kroner, which is equivalent to our US dollar. One US dollar equals $8.74 in kroner. They have their banks open until 3 p.m., unlike here in America, where ours are usually open until about 5:30, or 6. They have a form of taxes called MVA, and that is at 24%, and that's usually for goods and services. Food, public transportation, and accommodations, such as hotels, are actually taxed at a lower rate of 12%. Health services and education are actually exempt from this tax, which is kind of nice. When you visit a restaurant and you want to supply a tip, you are not going to use the word tipping. When you say tipping, they actually think that you're referring to betting, like at a horse race. Tips or dirks is actually what you would use for gratuity. They do expect about 10 to 20% would be the normal range for if you were to tip. It is very uncommon to actually tip taxi drivers and hotel staff, unlike here in America where we would tip our. Right here is called the Law of Jonta. This is their code of conduct that they live by. They are very humble people. They do not expect you to believe that you are better than the next person. So here you can see some of their laws. It's like their 10 commandments sort of thing to abide by when you are in Norway or you are Norwegian in general. Here is talking about some of Norway's cultural practices. They are a socialist country. They speak English and Norwegian. The picture here is actually of me at Lake Riley up in Arlington at a camp called Camp Normanna. I am wearing one of the folk costumes called a bunad. My bunad is actually from Voss, Each area of Norway has their own bunad to represent the different areas of Norway. Being calm and quiet is actually a virtue in Norway. They don't like people who are loud. If you're loud, they will assume that you are either aggressive, silly, and possibly drunk. So they are very quiet and reserved people. They are shy. They will not approach you, but if you do approach them and ask them a question, they are more than willing and welcome to answer those questions in a very friendly manner. So don't be afraid to approach somebody, even though they may seem pretty cold or offstandish or reserved. That's just kind of the natural cultural process there in Norway. Saying thank you or please or you're welcome is not very common there in Norway, which I find very surprising. I would think manners would be a big thing there, but seeing that they are very shy and reserved, that is actually just a normal practice for them. It's not to say please or thank you or you're welcome. Traditional foods. This picture here is actually of a kransekake, which is a Norwegian almond ring cake. They serve those for special occasions such as weddings, birthdays, Christmas, and even funerals. Some other traditional foods are lefse, which is the potato flatbread. It's like a very thin pancake, pretty close to a crepe, but it's made with potatoes. It's a potato bread. Some lutefisk. I'm sure people have heard of that one. It's a gelatinous fish that gets soaked in lye. It's very Norwegian traditional. I personally have not had any lutefisk. It is very smelly, so if you ever try to eat it, just hold your nose. Open face sandwiches. That's right, they only use one side of bread for their sandwiches, and you eat it open face. They are very good. Actually, the Sons of Norway Lodge here in Everett actually serves open face sandwiches at their bazaars and some of their social outings that they have. Some other stuff is pickled herring and krumkake, which is a sweet dessert. It's made in a cone shape, and traditionally you put like whipped cream and maybe some strawberries on top, or you can eat it plain. It is very crumbly, but it is so delicious. I make it every year for Christmas, and I will continue to make some every year. Very traditional in my family. Alrighty, we are talking about business practices. Unions are common, and women are equals in the workplace. They hold as much professional status and titles as the men do. Norway is actually in the top 3 of being closer to having equality in their workplace. They are not 100% equality, as women are expected to still take care of the homely duties such as cooking, taking care of the children, as well as working. So it's not 100% equal, but they are pretty high up there. Trust, honesty, and transparency are crucial to a Norwegian. They will not do business with you if they do not feel that you are honest and transparent with them. A lot of their business relationships do not go beyond that initial meeting. Unlike here in America, where you might friend your boss or add them on Facebook or social media, that is not a normal practice in Norway. Usually it's wham bam, one shot, with them. They value honesty and goodness rather than the professional status. So your moral character actually plays a big role in doing business with a Norwegian. If you are late or unprofessional or unreliable, you can actually break that trust in your relationship with that business just based on those items there. First contact must be done over email or over the telephone, and then you must follow up with an agenda so that they can practice and review it to be prepared for the first meeting. You generally do not want to schedule a meeting between July and August. That is considered their holiday season. A lot of people close their businesses and go on vacations during that time. Also, 2 weeks before Christmas and after Christmas, so I guess pretty much the whole month of December. Well, not the whole month, but pretty close. And then the first 2 weeks of January, and then also a week prior and a week after Easter is not a good time to schedule a business meeting with somebody there. Also, the working day is normally 8 to 4 p.m. with a 30-minute lunch. They don't need the 1 hour lunches. They eat pretty quickly. They don't go anywhere out to eat for lunch typically. They do business meetings, luncheons, and if you do invite somebody out, you will be the one that pays. So if you do the inviting, obviously you will also be paying for it. They usually are done at 4 p.m. because they have a pretty strict dinner is at 5 rule. So a lot of businesses will be closed at 4 just so that their employees can be home for dinner. They draw a strict line between work and family life. So you will not find them talking about personal topics at work, and they will also not talk about work at home. Very strict line. They draw that line between business and pleasure. They like it when you're direct. Periods of silence is common. So if you have a long, period where nobody is talking, that's okay. Don't panic. It's completely normal. Save all questions to the end. Do not interrupt. They consider it very rude. But do expect these questions at the end of your presentation because they will ask you. It's acceptable for men to take paternity leave while women work. Women are paid 80% pay for 12 months after having a baby, or you can accept it for 10 months at 100%. They also will pay a monthly stipend for mothers who choose to stay at home up until the preschool years. Have listed are the salary averages in Norway. Construction makes 197.90 kroner an hour, and then over to the right you can see for the unskilled and under 18, I have listed there 177.80 kroner for unskilled, but after 1 year it jumps up to 185.50 kroner, which is actually a pretty good jump there, almost 10 kroner. Yeah, 8 kroner after 1 year, but that's still pretty good here. Cleaning, you can make 181.43 kroner with a 26 kroner per hour supplement between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. So if you're looking to make some extra money, that's a pretty good supplement there. But if you're working in hospitality, you need to have at least 4 months of experience needed. They do pay you 168.70 kroner an hour for anyone who's over 18. Or if you are interested in being a live-in nanny, you can make 5,400 kroner per month. This is my presentation on Norway's cultural and business practices. As you can see, I have included a picture of one of the cabins along one of the many beautiful fjords that they have there. My family actually still has the family farm there in Norway called the Rorgo farm. That's just one of the farms that my family grew up on. And I also included a link down there below to the Sons of Norway if anybody is interested in learning more about the Norwegian culture. You do not have to be Norwegian to join the Sons of Norway, and you don't even have to join as a member. You are welcome to go to the lodge and visit and hang out. It's actually one of the only lodges around locally that has a bar, a full bar. So I am very proud to be of Norwegian heritage, and I hope you enjoyed my slides. On the next couple of slides, you will see my sources that I have used, and I hope to see you guys around. So thank you.